Hey there, it's Ben from patternprofits.net bringing you the weekly watch list, starting first with IWO. You can see Thursday and Friday last week pushed right up against anchored VWAP from off of the high, as well as year-to-date anchored VWAP. Also got the volume shelf point of control just above. Need to push through that early next week to give us a run up here to 316 level, clear all of this volume that's been building over here since March, and get us above and back towards those prior highs near 340. So that's basically what we're looking for early next week. I have a lot of charts to get to this week, so let's get right into them. INT, World Fuel Services, kind of a double bottom, sloppy double bottom pattern, but look at this volume coming in here. I had a nice move back above year to date anchored VWAP, back above volume shelf point of control. 34.98, the pivot that I'm looking for there, plus getting above the power earnings gap high of 34.65. Should push through those levels if it can take out that high, and then looking for a run to 37.68, which is this prior high. I also have CrowdStrike. I tried to go through and watch for the earnings dates on some of these, but please be aware, a lot of earnings this week. So please be aware of when everybody's reporting and your holdings are reporting. 251.28, the pivot prior level there, coming back looking like it's going to retest that area. Volume has dried up, had great volume on the way up. That is kind of quieted here, and now looking for the bounce and to make new highs. We also have SellH, one of our old friends. We've been on this one a lot. Descending trend line. It's an inside day right there at the pivot of 70.66, actually just below. You have anchored VWAP from off of this gap, which now may act as support. What we're looking for is this inside day to come out to the upside, reclaim 70.66 pivot, and break that descending trend line. Then we can look for a run to those prior highs up near 83. I also have a couple new names this week. I know a lot of these we've been on for weeks and watching for some of them even for months, but you have an inside day here on HLT, 132.69 pivot, looking for that to come out and reclaim that 132.69 pivot inside, comes out to the upside. You do have a prior high on that at 136.89. Good volume on the right side is what puts it on my radar. Notice how year-to-date anchored VWAP acted as support too several times. So now looking for that to push into new highs. CPRI. Like I said, quite a few new names this week. Again, let me just blow this up a little bit. 59.60, the pivot here. You have a power earnings gap here. Good volume, relatively speaking, good volume. If we can take out the high there, that high is 58.20. May give us a run to 59.60, push through there into new highs. A couple cup patterns that are forming handles. SPRT. This is another one. Good volume on the right side. 932. The pivot there. Looking for this to handle out just a little bit more. Big cup pattern. I have another one that looks very similar. AGFY. Agrify. Big cup pattern forming the handle here. Not real clear as far as this handle yet, so I hesitate to use either this level, which is 22.30, or the high here, 21.88. Either of those as a pivot. I think I'm looking more towards the prior pivot over here, 21.43. Look for that to handle out a little bit more. If it does go sideways a little bit more, may be able to use one of these levels too. But for now, especially if it goes quickly, 21.43, cloud acting as support on the way up. Big volume down here up the right side. That's what gets my attention. So we'll see if that can make some progress and push through pivot. I do have quite a few on the peg list. HCA talked about this one over on FinTwit last week. You've got a little triangle forming up high. It's back above anchored VWAP, just looking for that to push through and come out, kind of waiting on cloud to catch up. This would be the week where it does. So looking for that little triangle to break to the upside. Similarly, I have Domino's, DPZ. Similar setup there, a little different, but a triangle up high or a little pennant formation. Again, power earnings gap, anchored VWAP from off of the gap acting as support, looking for it to make the turn, take out the descending trend line, push to new highs. You've got that prior high of the power earnings gap, 548.72. So if we do come through that descending triangle, want to see that level get taken out. More in the same power earnings group category, Crocs. You're going to notice a theme this week. These power earnings gaps, there's quite a few of them. I mentioned how power earnings gaps, when they do it once, they tend to do it more than once. You had the big one back here, triangle form, broke out. Then we had another power earnings gap, went kind of sideways, reclaimed anchored VWAP from off the power earnings gap. Just having trouble taking out that high at 136.50. So want to see if it can close above 136.50 and push into new highs. Another one similarly is Snap. And this one below anchored VWAP, so we'll need to reclaim that. But what's interesting here is that 73.59 prior pivot is holding as support. So if we can make the turn push out here, little descending trend line forming, but the real action comes if we can get above anchored VWAP, above descending trend line, and then take out that 79.18 high from the power earnings gap. That's the most important level and the one that I'll be looking to have take out on strength. I also have Skechers, probably one of my favorite setups into next week. Again, notice that prior high acting as support, that pivot now acting as support right there at anchored VWAP from off the power earnings gap. Good volume. And we've got kind of a wick set up here where we need to push through above anchored VWAP, get in the wick, and then eventually push through and take out that prior high, that high 55.87. I also have FFIV, F5 Networks, this one within the base, but again, a power earnings gap, and that anchored VWAP from off of the power earnings gap holding now as support. You're inside there looking for that inside day to come out, maybe give a run towards those prior highs. I also have quite a few of these TPX. This is one I'm interested in possibly playing this either way, maybe exhaustion risk here as you look at this broadening formation right at the top here, but it is inside. So if that inside day should come out to the upside, we look for that 43.98 high of the power earnings gap to get taken out. On the other hand, if it rolls over, comes out to the downside, there's a possibility to play that to the downside. I think what I'm more looking for here is a strong group, continuation to the upside, and to get extension above these levels if that inside day comes out. But for the aggressive traders, there is a possibility for a short idea or to take puts. MXL, Max Linear, this is another one that had a power earnings gap. You'll notice this quite often where these prior levels that were acted as high are now supporting as lows. Anchored VWAP has acted as support here inside day, looking to see if that can push through the high. And you had quite a few of these on Friday. SIMO, all of these just watching to see if they can take out the high. 76.46, the high there from SIMO, power earnings gap from Friday. You also have POWI. If the market's strong early in the week, want to see if these pivots, they closed very well. Want to see if these highs can get taken out, 97.43. And then you have another one, 99.05. Basically what happens here when you take out that 97.43 high, there's a good chance you're going to take out that 99.05 too, and then give it a run towards the century mark. huge volume. That's what we like to see. A couple more. MITK. This is another one. Very similar setup. Had a nice big base cup and handle pattern. Big, strong, powerful breakout on good volume on the power earnings gap. 22.40 the high. If they're aggressive, they'll come after it and take out that high. One more. Dexcom. Similar, 524.31 the high there. If they're going to be aggressive and come after it, they will take out that high. Big volume within that run up. So just want to see how aggressive they are. I think that will give us a good sign early in the week. Hope this helps. I hope you guys have a great trading week, and I will see you over on FinTwit.